That doesn't happen if it wasn't for Skip Bayless. It was Skip Bayless who fought to have me on the show. It was Skip Bayless that wanted me to be his partner. It was Skip Bayless that trusted me to be the everyday dude that countered him. And so what I make sure to do with everybody is to make sure they understand. Me disagreeing with him and some of the things that he says and does, that ain't nothing new. That's where we started. That's our career is based off of that.
Yep.
Okay? We counted each other every day. He didn't have to do what he did for me.
And what people don't really realize is, after, quite frankly, you were like persona non grata. Like they weren't really fucking with you like that.
No.
And it was that dude, Skip Bayless, who was like, let me give you a platform again on camera.
Absolutely. Which is why, I flew to California and got in his face when he went on his podcast last year and was talking what he was talking. I'm like, who you talking about? I said, hell with all of this disagreement or whatever it is that you feel. You said you felt betrayed by me. When? Mm-hmm. When have I ever done that to you? I would never do that to you. So now you talking, chirping on your podcast. You in my face now. Tell me when I did that, because I would never do that to you. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so to me, I've known you for years. We're friends now and the whole bit. This man I've known since childhood. My man Chris Brock over there, I've known that brother since Philadelphia. That's my brother right there.
Philly cat in the house?
That's right. He Philly cat right there. That's my barber in Philadelphia right there. He drove down from Houston. I mean, I've known that man since 1994. Mm-hmm. Okay? Ain't nobody, no one that has ever met me that would tell you that from a character perspective, I will betray our friendship. It would never happen. I don't roll like that. And so when Skip said that, now wait a minute now, fuck all other stuff. What you talking about? When did I do that? And it turns out because people were in his ear and he had misconstrued what I said on a JJ Redick podcast or whatever, he reacted the way that he reacted and he explained himself and we are cool. But us disagreeing is no big deal.
Yeah.
I owe him so much because I may be number one now and I may be number one for the last 7 years without him, but those first 4 years I was number one was with him.
Right.
And not only was it with him, it was because of him. Because he was the guy that brought me on board and he was the guy that showed me how it was done. In terms of ratings and what you're paying attention to, in terms of what the audience is looking for and things of this nature. It was him, it was my brother Galen Gordon, it was my man Jamie Horowitz, who was the boss of the show as well. But it started with Skip. If Skip didn't want me there, I'd have never been on First Take.
Who knows?
If I had never been on First Take, I believe I would have achieved something. I don't think it would have been this, where I'm sitting in front of national audiences and telling you every single month of every single year for the last 11 years and counting, I've been number one. I don't think that I could say that if it were not for Skip Bayless. And so even though there are a multitude of people that'll throw criticism his way, I can criticize what you do. All right? I can even have a problem with who you are from time to time. But I'm going to always be your brother.
I respect that.
I'm going to always be his brother.
One more question from me, and it's more like something that just like annoys me sometimes. Mm-hmm. Like, I know you coming up, like you respected Bryant Gumbel. You have respect for Ed Bradley. You have respect for the people that walked before you.
Reverence, yeah.
Now, I see cats like Jay Williams, some of these younger cats, and I don't feel like they show you enough respect sometimes. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that way? And if so...
I don't think about it. Because if you don't give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Say less. All right.
Jay Williams and I got into a little heated discussion a little over a week or two ago. Did I think he crossed the line? Yeah. Did I let his ass know about it? Yeah. But it was only because... What's the personal stuff for? We disagreeing about Kyrie.
Right.
What's that about? Having said all of that, Jay and I have been tight for years. So it threw me for a loop. It shocked me. But it's an aberration. It's the only time anything like that has ever happened between us. And I'm not going to let that ruin what friendship we've had over the years, which is why I insisted He come back on the next week. We're fine. We're going to be all right. Little difference there, but we're men. Let's make sure that don't happen again, and we do that. But you also have to understand this one thing, and this has nothing to do with Jay. When you number one, people are coming for you.
Always.
You know, hell, when you number two, when you just, you know, I'm not number one on the New York Times bestseller list, but I'm a bestseller. All right? That's a creme de la creme list, the New York Times bestseller list. It don't get higher than that. And I've been on for 4 straight weeks and counting, hopefully counting. The point that I'm trying to make is that there's going to be people shooting for me then. There's going to be people shooting for me for First Take. There's going to be people shooting for me who wouldn't want my job. You know, I got a platform where I talk for 2 hours a day. And and it's at the point now where I'm the executive producer of the show. So I can talk about what I want to talk about. Now, obviously, I'm going to be responsible because I have an obligation to look out for ESPN and ultimately the Walt Disney family. So I can't just go on the air saying just anything, not doing my homework, tackling subjects that compromise the brand. Like, for example, you might hear me, and I'll give you a perfect example. You think I don't have anything to say about Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida up against Disney? Of course I got a lot of thoughts, but I work for Disney.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And the bottom line is that I'm not going to compromise my employer. And I'm telling y'all that because, damn it, y'all don't compromise your employer. You don't stick out your hand for somebody else's money and then ignore and forget their interest. You will find yourself on the unemployment line. You will find yourself losing perspective and money and cachet and a career. You don't do stupid shit like that. You got to be mindful of the fact that you have an obligation to the people you've chosen to represent. They can talk about plantation mentality and slavery and all of this other stuff. Last time I checked, it's all volunteered. Nobody didn't beg you to come. They didn't force you. They didn't shackle you and drag you to Disney or ESPN or some production company or some other network or anything like that. You wanted the opportunity. You have an obligation to represent who you work for. All you have to do is be honest about it. And so if I sit up there, yeah, I got my thoughts. Well, what's your thoughts, Stephen? None of your business. Because, you know, from Bob Iger to Jimmy Pitaro to Dave Roberts and Norby Williamson and others, I'm going to ride with the people that I work with and I work for because they place faith in me. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't have conversations with them privately about what I feel. But when we roll out publicly, we roll together. That's what you sign up for. And that doesn't mean you adopt everybody's beliefs. Sometimes you riding with them by shutting up and not saying anything. If you don't believe in that specific particular mission. But all of these things come with the profession. Any profession. It don't matter what job you have. You cannot do what you want to do when you want to do it, how you want to do it, whenever you damn well please, when you got your hand out for other people's money. There is capitulation that is part of the process. And anybody that tells you otherwise is lying to you and they're setting you up to fail.